The world is not governed by the people you see on the news. It is governed by the architecture of the money they spend. You are about to enter a world where borders are inconveniences, laws are suggestions, and billions of dollars can vanish into a digital void only to reappear as a legitimate skyscraper in London. This is the mathematics of survival in the shadows. This is your life. You graduate at the top of your class at Harvard Law or Wharton, and the offers come from every major white shoe firm on Wall Street. But you aren't looking for a standard career in corporate law or a boring position at a hedge fund. You're looking for the kind of rich where laws become mere suggestions and borders become minor inconveniences. You find yourself in a skyscraper, 63 floors above the morality of the common man, sitting across from a man who doesn't even stand when you enter. He just gestures to a chair and looks at your resume for exactly 3 seconds. He knows your credentials, Goldman, Deutsche Bank, impressive, but he wants to know why you're really here. You tell him you want to do meaningful work, and he laughs, because that's the first honest thing you've said. In this world, meaningful means making billions disappear and reappear elsewhere, perfectly legitimate and scrubbed of their history. You start your first week not with HR videos and compliance training, but with an orientation into the cracks of the global system. You learn the architecture of finance, shell companies in Delaware, trusts in the Cayman Islands, and nominee directors in Cyprus. You spend 100 hours a week reviewing 114-page contracts that keep the machine spinning, realizing you are a cog in a very expensive mechanism. The mathematics of your survival at this level is simple. Output must exceed conscience. You are currently functional humanity, a high-performance engine being tested for its capacity to ignore the source of the fuel. You look at the city lights and realize you are being groomed to see the world as a series of numbers on a screen, abstract, bloodless, and yours for the taking. You are no longer a person. You are an apprentice to the ghosts who run the world. You are a cog in a machine that hasn't even bothered to learn your name yet. Your job is to build fiction. You learn how to create a paper trail that leads to nowhere, how to structure transactions so they technically comply with regulations while completely subverting their intent. You are told that this isn't fraud, this is optimization. The distinction is legal, but as your supervisor explains, the distinction is also meaningless. You spend your days nesting companies within companies. A Luxembourg holding company owns a Cyprus subsidiary, which in turn owns a series of trusts in the British Virgin Islands. These entities exist only on a server in a room you will never visit, but they are the vessels for billions of dollars that need to be optimized. You learn the names of nominee directors in Cyprus who sign whatever you put in front of them for a small fee. The sensory experience is the hum of server racks and the dry heat of an office that never sleeps. You start to see money as a liquid that can be filtered through these jurisdictions until it emerges on the other side clean and documented. You are being taught to strip away the who and why of money, leaving only the how. You don't think about the villages without clean water because their president bought a yacht. You just move the numbers from one column to another. The mathematics of survival requires a complete absence of moral reflection. You are becoming very good at not reflecting. The only difference between a banker and a criminal is the quality of the paperwork. Your first major client is a Russian mining magnate who made his fortune in the 90s when the Soviet Union collapsed, and anyone with connections could buy state assets for pennies. He's worth $4 billion officially, but unofficially it's closer to 12. Most of it from bribes, embezzlement, and deals with people who are now serving life sentences or buried in Siberian forests. He needs that money cleaned. He needs it to look like it came from legitimate investments. You spend 3 months building the maze. It starts with a Luxembourg holding company that owns a Cyprus subsidiary, which owns a series of trusts in the British Virgin Islands, which invest in a private equity fund based in the Caymans. The fund then acquires stakes in real businesses around the world: hotels in Miami, office buildings in London, tech startups in Singapore. By the time you're done, $12 billion of dirty money has been transformed into a diversified portfolio of legitimate assets. The client sends you a case of wine worth more than your car, and your boss gives you a bonus that makes your previous salary look like pocket change. The mathematics are in your favor, but the psychology is not. You don't sleep well that night, but you sleep in a very expensive bed. You are starting to understand the soft prison of unlimited options. You can buy anything, but you find yourself staring at the ceiling, calculating the risk that someone somewhere is still looking for that money. You realize that in this rank, success is invisible, uneventful, and unknown. You are building a machine that makes human suffering profitable. You move into alternative assets. Because a painting has no intrinsic value, it's worth whatever someone is willing to pay. You buy works from unknown artists for a few $1,000s, create a fake provenance, fake auction histories, and fake critical acclaim. Then you sell them at real auctions for millions to another shell company you control. The money has been transformed from drug proceeds into cultural investment. You do this hundreds of times, becoming one of the biggest players in the art market without anyone ever knowing your name. You move into real estate next, buying properties through anonymous LLCs, inflating their values through fake appraisals, and selling them to other LLCs you also control. You book the profits as legitimate capital gains. You are not just laundering money anymore. You are reshaping the physical world to hide the sins of the elite. You walk through London or Manhattan and see buildings that are essentially giant, vertical bank accounts for people who cannot be named. You are the architect of a world where the law is a product you've already purchased. You realize that every dollar you clean represents a future stolen somewhere, a government corrupted, a village destroyed, a life ended. You are becoming a force of nature, but you are also becoming the most expensive secret in every room. You are turning the world's culture into a laundromat for its darkest crimes. You get into cryptocurrency in the early days, when regulation was a joke and anonymity was real. You set up mining operations and exchanges in jurisdictions with no oversight, moving billions through the blockchain, tumbling it across thousands of wallets before converting it back to dollars through seemingly legitimate trading profits. The technology was designed to be untraceable, but you make it even more so. You use tumblers or mixers, software that takes a large transaction, breaks it into thousands of tiny pieces, and mixes it with the transactions of other people until the digital breadcrumbs vanish. You are no longer just a banker. You are a digital ghost. You spend your days staring at code, watching the flow of value move like water through a filter, emerging on the other side clean and documented. The isolation is total. Your social media apps are deleted, your phones are burners, and your physical location is a safe house in a country with no extradition treaty. You realize that you have built a digital cage for the world's wealth. The mathematics of survival, now, dictates that you must not exist on any ledger. You are a star on a wall that hasn't been carved yet. In the digital age, your greatest achievement is being a zero in everyone's data. 2 years in, you meet him, the man they call the richest criminal in the world. No one knows his real name or his real face. He communicates through intermediaries and lawyers who would die before revealing anything. He is not a cartel boss or a mafia don. He's something bigger. He's the banker, the man who holds the money for all the other criminals. He is the Switzerland of the underworld. The meeting happens on a yacht in international waters. You are blindfolded for the helicopter ride, and when they remove it, you are in a room that looks like a 5-star hotel suite. He is a silhouette against the sunset, and he slides a folder across the table with a single number inside, $80 billion. This is what he needs moved. This is what he needs cleaned. This is what he needs to disappear completely and reappear as something that could never, ever be connected to him. He gives you 5 years to launder $80 billion. It sounds impossible. It is impossible through conventional means, but you don't use conventional means anymore. You realize you aren't an employee anymore. You are a partner in a global shadow empire. The mathematics of your life have shifted. You are now responsible for the functional survival of a system that exists beneath the surface of the world. You are rich beyond imagination, and you have never been more terrified. At this level, you aren't an employee. You are an asset, and assets that become liabilities get liquidated. You use the billions to buy the people who write the laws. You have dirt on 3 sitting senators, 2 governors, and a Supreme Court justice. You provide consulting fees to those who expedite your permits and charitable donations, to those who loosen the banking regulations. You have proof of price-fixing conspiracies that would crash the market and bribery schemes that reach into the highest offices, including the White House. You have created a world where the law is just a product you've already purchased. You attend fundraisers where you are the most dangerous person in the room because you know which billionaire is secretly addicted and which bank laundered money for terrorists. You know which pharmaceutical company deliberately released a contaminated vaccine and which tech company sold user data to foreign intelligence services. The revolving door never stops spinning. Your chief of staff used to work for a regulator, and your legislative director will work for an oil company when she leaves. You are no longer playing their game. You are playing a game they don't even know exists, a game where you're the only player and everyone else is just a piece on the board. Mutual assured destruction is the only form of trust that works with these people. You have built a machine where the truth is the only thing that isn't for sale. After 3 years, the $80 billion is becoming traceable assets. Real estate worth $30 billion, art collections worth $8 billion, and stakes in legitimate companies worth $15 billion. The rest is spread across so many accounts and so many structures that it would take a century to untangle. You are no longer just moving money, you are reshaping cities. You buy entire blocks in London and luxury apartments in New York through anonymous LLCs. You are a sovereign entity with no flag. You have more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes, yet you have no legacy except the secrets you've kept and the crimes you've enabled. You calculate the casualties of the money you've moved, the drug deaths, the human trafficking, the destroyed futures, and realize you are responsible for more casualties than most wars. You don't believe in God, but you're starting to believe in hell. You sit in your villa, guarded by men you pay to be loyal, and realize that you are the man who laundered money for the world's richest criminal. You have everything you ever wanted, and you have nothing at all. You are rich beyond imagination and utterly alone. You are the most dangerous person in every room you enter, and that is why no one will ever truly love you. You notice that some of your colleagues have disappeared, not arrested, just gone. New people take their places, and no one mentions the old names. You understand what this means. You're not an employee, you're an asset, and assets that become liabilities get liquidated. The knock comes 3 months after you finish the $80 billion job. 2 men in expensive suits with dead eyes tell you that the organization is undergoing restructuring, and you've been selected for early retirement. They don't say what that means, and they don't have to. You ask if you can make a phone call first. They say no. You have 30 seconds. While they're distracted by something outside the window, you press a single button on your phone, a dead man's switch you designed 3 years ago. It sends copies of everything to law enforcement agencies in 12 countries, transaction records, client lists, the locations of hidden assets, everything you know about the man on the yacht. You aren't doing it for justice, you're doing it for leverage. If you're going to die, you're going to take as many of them with you as you can. The men receive a phone call, their expressions change, and they apologize for the misunderstanding. You are too valuable to lose and too dangerous to be allowed a home. You saved your life by destroying it. You are 45 now. You live in a country that doesn't ask questions, in a house on a cliff overlooking the ocean. You have enough money to last several lifetimes, and you have nothing at all. Every relationship is a potential threat. Every stranger is a potential assassin. You haven't slept more than 4 hours at a time in years. You watch the news, obsessively looking for signs that they're coming for you. The man on the yacht was never caught, and the machine keeps running. 80 billion becomes 100 billion becomes 200 billion. You're not part of it anymore, but you design the systems that make it work. Your legacy is every crime that money enables, every life destroyed, every government corrupted, every future stolen. You sit on your cliff and watch the sunset, realizing that you are free and you are imprisoned. You are rich and you are bankrupt. You got everything you wanted and lost everything that mattered. The waves crash against the rocks below, and you wait for a knock that might never come. The mathematics of your life has finally balanced out to a hollow, echoing zero. This is your retirement. This is your reward. You spent your life building a prison, and now you're the only one in it. The mathematics of survival is a zero-sum game. You spend your life climbing a ladder made of other people's secrets, thinking that the view from the top will be worth the climb. But the air at the summit is thin and cold and full of knives. You realize too late that the system doesn't protect its own, it only protects the cycle. You were a believer once, thinking you were the architect of your own fate. Now you know the truth. You were just a tool, used until you were blunt and then discarded into the dark. The cycle doesn't end, it just rotates through new faces. The past always catches up. You're gone, the ocean remains, the math works out.